Hi guys, it's Casey back with another video. Today, I know I missed last week, but between Vegas and then doing a training camp in Chula, I wasn't able to put out a video, and instead of scrambling to put one together, I wanted to give you guys something quality, something thought through. So here I am this week with a video about how I changed my setup and my training going from indoor season to outdoor season. So we just finished up Vegas. That was my last indoor. Arizona Cup is in 2 weeks, and so right now I am working on switching on my training a little bit, working on my equipment, making sure it's tuned the best it can be for 70 meters, and just getting ready for all the events coming up this outdoor season. The first thing I do when I am switching from indoors to outdoors is I take a look at my equipment. Usually I set up two different bows, so like I have my indoor bow right set up that was for Vegas, and then my backup bow for Vegas was really set up for outdoors, but I just had it at an indoor site mark. But now that it is fully outdoor season, I'm going to set up both bows to be for 70 meters. So I'll go through what the difference between my indoor bow and my outdoor bow looks like. So biggest thing is just tuning. I tune a little bit different at 70 than I do for 18-meter competition. When I'm tuning for indoors, I tune at 18 meters. I shoot a group of 3 fletched arrows at a bear shaft, and based off where the bear shaft is, move either plunger, knocking point, tiller, brace height, all those things. My very first video I put out kind of goes through all of that. But when I'm shooting in the outdoor season, I tune at 30 meters. The reason I do this is because 30 meters is about the halfway point at 70, and so that's when the arrow is at its highest and its weakest in my mind as far as speed, how it can be affected by wind, things like that. And so I tune at 30 meters. It's a pretty similar process as far as I shoot a group of, 3 fletched arrows, and then I shoot a bear shaft to see where that's at. I'll have the bow set up as I normally set it up. If I need to do a little tuning here and there, I will. But I'll show like a little clip of me shooting at 30 and looking where the bear shaft is and going based off of that. So once I feel like my tune is good at 30, it's where I want. Usually I like the bear shaft slightly stiff. I know that's might be a little unconventional, but for me personally, I've always shot better with a bear shaft just slightly stiff, which for me as a left-handed archer, if the bear shaft is right of the group, it would be stiff. So I'll get it there at 30 meters, and then I'll go to 70, and I will do what I call group tuning. So group tuning for me, I shoot 6 arrows with my plunger wherever it's at. Once I've tuned at 30, kind of shoot a few ends, see how that group is. If it's a group that I'm happy with, if it's like absolutely wadded, I'll keep it there. There's no reason to change anything if I'm grouping like that. But if I feel like there's some room for improvement, I go to the plunger and I'll start with it 3 clicks weak of where I originally tuned. So I'll take 3 clicks off the plunger. I will shoot that at 70, kind of see how the groups are, and then I'll take 1 click. I'll put 1 click back on, so I'll do 2 clicks weak and then shoot a little, see what it's at, and then I'll try 1 click weak, see where it's at again, and then if I can tell like, okay, like my groups were best at 2 clicks weak, then I'll keep it there and shoot it for a day, and then maybe the next day I'll try stiff. So next day I'll start with 3 clicks stiff of where I originally tuned at 30, check the group, few ends, go back on 2 clicks, check, shoot a few ends, 1 click, see how it is, and then based off of that, I usually plot my groups so I can compare them once I've tried all the 6 different settings, well 7 including starting with it even, and I'll compare those groups. So say like if I'm like, oh, like my flyers instead of being 9s were 8s with 3 clicks off, then it's like, okay, that one's out. And then if I'm like, well, I had a decent group, they were on the yellow, but it wasn't a tight group at this setting, then that one's out. And I kind of go back and forth and compare. Usually for me, there's one setting that is very obvious of like, oh, this is grouping the best, and then I'll stick with that. But say if I have 2 different ones that are pretty similar, then I'll go like back and forth comparing those 2 groups. And I like to do this on a day that isn't windy, because obviously wind can change your groups and change where you need to aim and such. So I do this on a calm day so I can just see how the group is without having any wind or any weather or anything like that. So that's my biggest difference between tuning indoors and tuning outdoors is like I tune at 30 meters instead of 18, and I group tune at 70 where it's kind of hard. Like I guess you could group tune at 18, but it's the margin of error is pretty small to really tell much of a difference rather than if you're just like, oh, this tune isn't great, I'm going to go back to the drawing board of the bear shaft, if that makes sense. So as far as tuning, that is the biggest difference. I know that was a lot, but I'll do a little recap, right? The 30 meters, group tuning, I'll start with it, my plunger at where I tuned at 30. I'll go start with 3 clicks weak, shoot, back it up, 2, back it up to 1, and then either later that day, next day, started at 3 clicks stiff of where I tuned at 30, back it up to 2, check the group, back it up to 1, check the group, compare all of those groups and find what tunes best for my shooting. As far as other things on my bow, the only difference really equipment wise, like if you look at the two bows, they look pretty similar between my indoor bow and my outdoor bow. The biggest difference is my aperture. So when I shoot indoors, I shoot an open ring. I don't like to shoot a pin. When I shoot a pin or a dot indoors, I tend to over aim and I pay too much attention to trying to put it in the middle, especially because indoors is kind of more of like a you have to kind of be on and hit all the time game. When I put a pin in there, it makes me too critical of how I'm aiming. So I shoot with an open ring indoors, and then at 70 meters, I shoot the Whiffler Air aperture, and it has a 2.9 fiber in it. And so I like to shoot a green fiber outdoors. It kind of blends into the yellow, but it's enough difference that I can see it. Again, like if it was red or black or something, like I would definitely aim too hard for my preference. So I shoot the green one, and the reason that I do shoot a fiber outside is to have a reference for when I'm aiming off. I've tried shooting outdoors before with an open ring, and you can aim off with an open ring. But the way I see it, like right, if you have a pin and I need to aim left 8, I'm still looking at the center, but I'm seeing my pin sit left 8. The difference between those two reference points is very small. Whereas if the middle's here and I'm just shooting an open ring and I have to aim off, the reference of where the edge of that ring is very far off from where the middle is, which is where I'm looking. Like I don't look at the pin or the side of the ring if I'm aiming off. Like I keep looking at the middle and I just see it in my peripheral as a reference. And so for me, it's a lot more precise and a lot easier to see the pin in my peripheral than the edge of a ring because the pin is going to be a lot closer to where I'm looking than the edge of the ring if I need to aim off. So that's the biggest equipment difference. I also at times shoot a little bit more poundage outdoors just because of wind and speed. I'm shooting 41 pounds outside right now, and I normally shoot 40 pounds indoors. As far as training, I usually take my arrow count up a little bit. The reason I do this is because when I'm in the outdoor season, I have a lot more travel days, which means I have a lot more days off, which is not my favorite thing. I shoot every day normally. So with there being a lot more days off, I like to shoot more arrows while I'm training because then I can kind of catch up in my mind. That just makes sense to me. And also, the tournaments are a lot longer days, so my stamina holds up a lot better if I'm shooting a lot more during training days. As far as scoring, I probably score about the same as I do indoors. Like I usually do a round or two a day at least, sometimes more. I do the same amount of blank bail. I'll usually finish the day with some sort of blank bail to cool down. Um, I'd say the biggest difference as far as training is just working on aiming off, right? Indoors, you don't have any wind. Outdoors, it's usually windy at competition. So I like to work on aiming off, making sure I'm confident in my spot and not having to look too much at that pin. Um, so those are my biggest differences. The transition from indoors to outdoors isn't that huge for me. I know for recurve archers that shoot 23s indoors, like that's a huge difference. Like I shoot X10s indoors, outdoors, anywhere, everywhere. So that's never been a huge change for me, but just a little bit here with changing up how I tune, changing a little bit on my equipment with the aperture, and then also making myself go up an arrow count because I know that there are a lot more travel days, which end up having days off from shooting. So I tend to train a little bit more during the outdoor season. So that is pretty much an overview of the differences that I have between indoors and outdoors with tuning, equipment, and training. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and good luck this outdoor season. Thank you.